Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Will, and I wanted to share just a couple of thoughts, just observations I have about restaurants and, frankly, how our business is very similar to a restaurant. But I really want to focus on what I've seen and observed and learned from talking to people that own and run restaurants, and just from being a customer. And I had an interesting conversation today with a longtime server at a local breakfast place. I'm not going to say their name, but it's a place that my mom and I go to every week for breakfast, and we have for a long time, a number of years. And over the spring and summer, we started noticing that the staff was changing, a lot of new people. The service was not as good. The consistency of the food was not as good, and just the experience was just not great. The staff seemed kind of stressed, distracted. Nothing was as genuine, and the the food was it was never as consistent. And we had always liked this place for those reasons. Consistent food and consistently good, genuine, authentic service. Like, that's it. That's all that mattered. The menu didn't need to change all the time. They didn't need to have like tons of specials and all that kind of stuff. It was just, as a regular customer, that's what we were looking for. We knew the staff. We knew a lot of the people on the staff, and had good conversations with them. They genuinely cared. They were bought into what was going on there, and the food was always consistent. And I mean, like, I literally ordered the same thing every week. Like, that's how little I was looking for differentiation. But as a regular customer, you're looking for something you can count on, that you can rely on. It's so incredibly important for those regular customers, who are the backbone of successful restaurants, right? Like, it's always great to bring new people in, but the people that have come in, that have had experience with you, particularly if they've been there more than once, those are the ones you want to have coming back time and time again, whatever their regular routine may be, once a week, 5 times a week, once a month, whatever it is. You want them coming back consistently. And what gets them in there, of course, is that consistent food and consistently great service. That's it. And anyway, so we noticed all this stuff was happening. We just kind of quit going for a while. And then we kind of came back here in the fall, and earlier, about a month or so ago, some of the old staff was back, and now they're all back. And it turns out that, they brought in somebody who was trying to make all these changes, who was a GM, and all these like new exotic food offerings for their specials. And the whole kitchen staff quit on this person one day, and a lot of the servers quit, and it was just a total mess. It was a train wreck. And now they're back to, much of the staff is back. They're back to doing what they've been doing for all these years, which is just nailing those basics every single day. And I really found it to be fascinating. Talking to the server, he did say, this place, it was a locally owned business, and they did really well, and they had a few locations. And a couple years ago, they started franchising, and now they've got 30, and the founder sold most of his shares of the business, and it's a franchising organization running it. And now they're focused solely on growth. And he was telling me the story. He was talking about how they're putting in this $3,000 juicer. They're getting ready to put $3,000 into a juicer for juicing oranges, and it takes 8 oranges to make 1 cup of juice. And he just didn't understand why they were spending that kind of money. And the new people in corporate think people want to see their orange juice juiced. And we were kind of laughing about it, because I thought, $3,000, like, where? That's not what is going to get people coming back in here. And by the way, we're back as customers, my mom and I, but they're still slow. And they said that we've been slow, and it's kind of hard right now, and we're really hoping we can win people back. But a $3,000 juicer is not going to do that. Now, what he was telling me is, he said, "Well, instead of that, like, we have light bulbs that need to be fixed and basic stuff that needs to be done. We need to paint the walls. The walls haven't been painted in years. Just basic stuff that needs to be updated, right? I mean, needs repainting, needs new light bulbs." He said that the early in the morning, this is a breakfast and lunch place. He said early in the morning right now, with the since it's staying dark so late in the morning, there's people coming in. They're having to turn on their iPhone flashlights to see their menu because their lighting is too dim, and the walls are too dark. And so it really just struck me as fascinating that how those kinds of decisions can get made, and you just get distracted from what really matters. You provide consistent food, you take great care of your customers, and you freshen up the place on occasion. You don't have to, completely remodel, but you repaint, you keep the light bulbs fixed, you keep the place clean, like all this basic stuff, right? But what difference does that make? Well, it makes a huge difference to regular customers. They're the ones who notice that stuff. Now, the other thing they've had is some new breakfast place opened recently, and so I'm sure some of their customers are going there, or some people have chosen that over this or whatever. But new places will always come, and people will they may go there for a while, but unless that place is consistently good and consistently great service, which is, seems simple, but it's hard to pull off in the restaurant business, right? Then, people will come back. So if you're just nailing those things, people may go to new, but they'll always come back if you keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, because people want what they expect, and they want to know that when they go somewhere, they're going to get those simple things. So the server and I were just, kind of laughing about that, but just kind of, bemoaning the fact that like $3,000 for this juicer, where that money could be spent on other things that, I couldn't care less about juice. I bet most of the regular customers couldn't care about the juice. They have good orange juice. They don't need to, I don't need to see it squeezed. But knowing that they're investing in the place and keeping the paint fresh and changing the light bulbs as needed and all that kind of stuff, that's what people care about, and that's what matters. And anyway, it really struck me as interesting, because it's just something that we face all the time at Schedulefly too, is, the pull to do all this new stuff and add all these new features, where what people really care about, what our customers care about, is they want us to have clean, simple, fast, reliable software that works every time they use it. And they want us to take great care of them if they have the question or they have a need or anything like that. That's what matters. Just nailing that every day. If you spend all of your energy focused on that day after day after day, that's what builds the foundation of loyal customers, regular customers who are loyal to you, who care about what you're doing, who feel excited to be a part of it. And that's true with restaurants. It's true with our business, or really any business. So I just found that really interesting. And I think it's easy to get distracted from just nailing those basics, especially when new people come in. But nailing those basics, that gets you 99% of the way there every time. And if you nail the basics day in and day out, and you're really relentlessly focused on those, it's very hard to fail. Very hard to fail if you're nailing those all the time. So, hey, thanks for listening. More podcast episodes coming up, more interviews coming up soon. But I had this on my mind. I wanted to share it. I appreciate you listening. All of us here at Schedulefly do, and we hope you're enjoying this podcast very much. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.